On your mark, get set. Get set, get set. Remit is a denchem. On your mark, get set. Remit is a denchem.
I know getting money when I come Lagos. Now my dream and my hustle and I thank Jesus.
DJ Invisible.
I thought you could inspire you, but you know me, say, say you don't go hustle, say you don't go shop. Yeah, mama tell me, say, Bikino, one day you go blow. Alahaji Tekino. Yeah, mama tell me, say, Bikino, one day you go blow. Yeah, say.
All I need is one love. All I need is your love, yeah. Sweet love, baby, yeah. All I need is your love, yeah. Yeah, baby girl, nobody have to know. Baby girl, what we consign them. Baby girl, keep it on the low. Baby girl, nothing consign them. Am I la far away, me? Am I la far away, baby, me? Am I la susa, yeah, me? I feel me still like a shy, yeah, me. Sweet love, oh, give me sweet love, oh, give me more love, yeah. Come give me some sweet love.
DJ Invisible.
All over. Wanna ride like a Land Rover. Forget about the code. She had the decoder. She said she gonna make me fall for a Casanova. 9 shots over. Yeah, still a push me from the sofa. Everything done, and where we are gonna go for. In a little while, wifey coming over. Tell me what am I to do? Another girl falling again. What am I to do? Man falling in trouble again. What am I to do? Falling again. What am I to do?
Right, not to right. Right, not to right. Oh my God, not to right. Right, not to right. Right, not to right. Oh my God, not to right. Right, not to right. Right, not to right. Oh my God, not to right. Right, not to right. Right, not to right. Oh my God, not to right. Right, not to right. Can I get my keys, oh Shade? Right, not to right. You say you don't gonna leave, oh Shade. Slow down, I beg you, slow down. Yeah. Why you gonna leave, oh Shade? Now you wanna leave, oh Shade. Slow down, I beg you, slow down. Don't you listen to what the people got to say.
DJ Invisible.
I'm addicted to your love, girl. You're the morning to my night. If you no leave, I no go fit leave. Oh. If you no sleep, I no sleep. Oh. I wanna see you every day. You light up my day. Come live this star boy way. Right, not to right. Right, not to right. Oh my God, not to right. Right, not to right. Right, not to right. Oh my God, not to right. Right, not to right. Right, not to right. Oh my God, not to right. Right, not to right. Right, not to right. Oh my God, not to right.
Now, baby girl, tell me where you come from. Cause you got me confused when you move that bomb. You give me leg over, huh? Got me confused when you bend over. We gon' do it till we hungover. Black shades on, we ain't never sober. Yeah, I could jump on the
DJ Invisible.
As long as you give me my passion. Baby, make you know they rush me. I beg you, make you treat me with caution. Hey, let go. My baby, give me leg.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? Have you all had a great week? It's me, Mama Sewa. I hope you're all okay. My apologies for being absent for the last couple of weeks, but I am very excited to come back into the studio. My guest who I had planned to come in, unfortunately, has fallen a bit sick, so She couldn't come today, so you've just got me, myself and I. Hopefully you guys will call in today and join in with the topic. So, this evening's topic, I would like to take a little walk down memory lane. You know how I love memory lane. So today my question to you, my first question to you actually is, what are your favourite childhood memories? What kind of games did you play as a child? How easily did you make friends? How did you make friends? Did you have a plan? How did you maintain your friendships as a child? What kind of routine did you have? You know, was there something that you had to do every day without fail? Did you have chores that you had to do? Most importantly, what did you think being a grown-up meant? What did you think all these grown-ups were doing? I would love to hear from you. The studio line number is 0203 002 8482 as always. The second part, and it doesn't actually matter, we can go either way, is who do you think should be responsible for teaching young people, children, young people, about sex education? I know that in many schools they're starting as early as primary school and, you know, the first few years of high school. So is it a teacher's responsibility? Is it a parent's responsibility? Is it auntie and uncles, or is it grandparents? Who taught you sex education? How did that go? If you're from an African household as I am, I can only imagine the awkwardness and the jokes about it all. So do call in and let me know. The telephone number again, if you're calling from anywhere around the world, is 0203 002 8482. I know there are some cultures who actually prepare their young people, you know, during puberty. Well, they prepare them for their sexual life in the future. So do let me know if you have any more information that I don't.
We up to something. Artists don't buckle rich on it. Bigger than Marvin, don't be funny. Them they feel me from Ogogo Michael down to Asia, Colombia calling. If not for money, get them plenty. Ask me for money whenever you see me. Another reason when they go to feel me and they go to quality when I do for TV. Who do this thing where they make them say? Who give them waiting they make them say?
So, I know, depending on where you come from, there's various games that you would have played as a child. Oh, I've got a caller. Bear with me. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Hi. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh. Well, I hope we're not going to have that problem today. So if you just called in, please do call back. I could hear you saying hello, but obviously you couldn't hear me. Hello, caller. Hello. Oh, today's not a good day to have a technical issue. I don't know what's going on.
I could mention your name to the whole wide world. Baby, you would give me joy. Angela.
Oh baby, pour me water.
DJ
Holy
Invisible.
water. Quench this fire. Pour me water. Some holy water. Make it quench this fire.
Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Can you hear me? Hello, I can hear your music. Well, my music that you're listening to. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Good evening. Who's that? Is that Davina?
It is Davina. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Dee. I'm all right. How are you? Thank you for being my first caller. So, which would you like to discuss first? Favorite childhood memories, or who should have the responsibility of teaching children about sex education?
The second question. I believe that it should be the parents that teach kids about sex education.
Okay, why?
And the reason I believe that is because I think that parents want their child to understand certain things in certain ways.
Yeah.
And so it's their responsibility to teach them something as deep as that. I don't think they should leave it to teachers or leave it to their friends or leave it to TV or the internet, because they could be taught it in a completely
wrong
way in which they don't want their kids to be learning like that. So, for instance, I've got nieces and nephews. My oldest nephew, it's something that I talk to him about it, and my sister gets a bit funny, but then I always say to her, it's better for him to learn it from us than to go outside and learn it from his friends.
Yeah, and be given incorrect information.
Exactly, giving him incorrect information. Sorry, giving him correct information, not incorrect information. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. But obviously, coming from a Ghanaian background or Ghanaian parents,
I was going to ask you that.
You don't discuss it. So it's, I remember. So with my parents, they never told me about it. I kind of learned it from my sisters. But I remember my mum saying to me when I became a woman, as it were, she said, "Oh, now you know you can get pregnant," and that was her way of telling me. But yeah, that.
Auntie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's vital information.
It's vital information, but what's the nitty gritty of getting pregnant? Yeah, I can get pregnant, but she should have sat me down and told me what it's all about, and not have me learn from. I suppose I had older sisters, so she thought, oh, I will learn.
They'll
from them.
sort it out.
It would have been nice to learn from my mum,
Yeah, but how would that conversation have gone? I mean, would it have been comfortable? Don't you think you would be a bit uncomfortable? I mean, even now, do you are you able to have a conversation like that with your mum?
No, but I think that's because of the way I was brought up. In terms of, if she was more open with me when I was younger, then at this age I wouldn't feel no way. I wouldn't be shy about talking to her about it.
Yeah.
If it came on the TV, like now it comes on, if we're happy
Turn your
to
head.
watch TV and something, I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't even know where to put my face. But if I was younger, I was younger, it was always like something like that would come on, kissing would come on, it would be like, Davina, go to bed.
Or all of a sudden, the ceiling was your best friend.
But I just, I mean, for me, when I start having children, I think I'm going to be open with my kids when it comes to that area. And obviously, I'm not going to be saying, oh, yeah, go out and do it, because it's not, something that I want them to be just going, putting themselves out there. But I will make it a topic in the household where they're free to talk about it. And I think a lot more Ghanaians should have that mentality and not think it's a taboo, how they do think that. So, yeah.
But is it just Ghanaians? Do you think I've had this conversation with my Asian friends, and it's very much like we can't talk about such things. I've had it with my other African friends, and that's just really not the conversation that people tend to have. But however, when I speak to my Caucasian friends, my British friends, they're like, yeah, we know, mum and dads, we know. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Okay, maybe I shouldn't say Ghanaians. I should say people that have come to this country that aren't white, that have got, I don't want to say have got culture, because white people do have culture, but in terms of have that kind of strong kind of culture whereby that in itself is seen as a taboo. And even when they get married, it's like you don't talk about it. It's something between you and your husband.
Yeah.
You know?
If even that, I mean, there's lots of times that you hear that, you know, the conversation doesn't even really come up. It's just a thing to do to have children and it's finished. So
yeah,
I think sex is quite a taboo in our culture for various reasons. But, you know, so you're going to be the liberal parent. So how early do you think? Go on.
I don't want to say I'll be liberal. No, I'm not going to be liberal, but I think I'll be, there's certain things that I'm not going to not talk about. There's certain things I will talk about. Certain things my parents didn't talk about with me that I will talk about with my children.
Like?
Yeah. Like sex, like boyfriends, girlfriends, drugs, alcohol.
Okay.
So have a conversation with them about it, not just say, oh, it's not good, and then that's it.
And that's it, and you don't know why.
Yeah, you don't actually understand why. When you're, you know, secondary school age, 11, 12, 13, you don't actually understand why.
Yeah.
Like, what is the problem? Oh, because if you have a boy that's a friend, you'll get pregnant. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that was always kind of, you know, kind of implied in the household that, oh, if you have a boy that's a friend, you'll get pregnant. And it's like, okay, obviously that's not the case, but, you know, it was, and it didn't, I mean, I'm not saying I was one of these children that went out and did everything, because I didn't. I was too scared of the consequences. But it would have been nice to have been explained things. So the choice I made, it wasn't out of fear. It was because I knew what it was, if that makes sense.
So at what age do you think the conversation should be had? What age is too early and what age is too late, do you think?
Primary school age is too early, I think.
Yeah.
I think kids should be kids. I think kids should, you know, we should protect their innocence a bit. I think primary school age is too early. In terms of girls, as we know, girls can obviously start their periods early, so they can actually start their periods in primary school, So maybe if they're unfortunate to have started their periods early, then they need to be spoken to about it, because they're at that next stage in their life. With boys as well, I think that, I mean, as the primary school age is too early, but I would say before they go to secondary school, because when you get to secondary school, that's when you start seeing, it's completely different to primary school. It's not so innocent. There's, you know, I see 11-year-olds holding hands and kissing on the street, and I'm just like, my goodness. But that's, you know, that's the world we live in these days.
Early.
So,
okay.
yeah, I think age 11, when they start secondary school, is when they should be told, this is what it is. This is, you know, your body's a temple, all that jazz that, you know, we say.
All that
you're
jazz.
the only one that can control it.
Yeah.
You're the only one that can control it, and, you know, yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. So,
what do you think?
I think parents should definitely take the lead on teaching children, you know, giving them that sex education, that conversation. However, in certain households, it's very awkward to the point that you might not even listen to what's being said. All you would probably be praying for is for the ground to swallow you up. I think my mum tried...
But hold on, but sorry to cut you, but at what age? And the thing is, you're praying for the ground to swallow you up. Why is that? It's because that you haven't, the parent hasn't made that their home that comfortable to have.
No. It's not about making it comfortable. It's just that conversation. Like you said, I'd be watching TV and a simple kiss, just a kiss, would come on. All of a sudden, there's something to do in the kitchen. All of a sudden, I need to wee. All of a sudden, I've dropped something. Oh, I'm looking at the ceiling. Everything else is more important than the TV. Do you see what I mean? Because even if, you know, you're not being told that that's bad, that's naughty, you already know that, oh, there's something about this in an African household, I believe, anyway. So you wouldn't want to even have... I have to be honest, I dreaded my mum ever, you know, even approaching a conversation with me. And I actually remember we were driving through Park Lane, and I think at its time I was about 14, and we were coming from my auntie's house, going back home, and my mum said something about, I think prior to that she'd received a letter that we were going to be taught sex education in school. And it'd been ages, and I think I kept the letter from her because I didn't want her to even know that I was hearing the word sex. So I didn't show it to her, and I think then I had to get it signed, and I told my teacher something about, oh, I lost it, but it was fine, you know, and didn't care because everybody else's was signed. So when I did have to show it to her. At this point, you know, the classes had already began, and my mum said something like, oh, the letter that I got, what do you know about it? And I knew exactly what she was talking about, but I said, what do you mean, what do I know about it? She said, you know, you're going to be taught sex education in school, so what do you know about it? And I said, oh, nothing, I don't even think we're going to do that anymore. And we were in a car alone, and all of a sudden I think I was getting hot. I just don't want to have that conversation with her. And then, you know, in true Ghanaian form, she said, well, you know, children should not be doing it. You shouldn't be doing it till you're married, which is absolutely fair enough. I said, okay. And she said, and if you have any questions, ask me. Something like that. That was me. Okay. But at this point...
Did she sound a bit upset?
No, she didn't sound upset, but she wasn't comfortable. I don't think she was comfortable. It was literally a couple of minutes. And I said, all right, Mum, if I do have any questions, I will ask you. But like I said, at this point, we had already in school, you know, the graphs had come out. We'd been taught certain things. So in my head, I wanted to laugh, but I didn't. And I didn't say anything. I said, all right. But I think they're going to cover in school. And she said, okay. And that was literally like, that was it.
Yeah, see, I went to Catholic school my whole life. So in Catholic school, you're not supposed to be doing them things before you're married.
Yeah, you're not. You're not. But
they don't teach you about it. The only thing they taught us was in biology, the male reproductive organs and the female reproductive organs, but they didn't tell us what needs to happen. Do you know what I mean? They did it in like a technical form, but in terms of the, you know, they didn't explain it because you're not supposed to be doing things like that. Like, I've got friends that didn't go to Catholic school, and they were taught how to put condoms on courgettes. I mean, and cucumbers. So, you know, that's not something...
That was a hilarious class.
Yeah. Did you get taught that as well?
Yeah, we did. It was so funny, to the point that I think my teacher, it was my home teacher, Mrs. Wishart, may her soul rest in peace. She sent out a few of the boys because I think overall everybody was a bit uncomfortable. And then, of course, at 13, 14, you know, some people, you know, especially the boys were know-it-alls. They know, yeah. And then I think a couple of them even went and put water in a balloon, in the condoms, and started throwing it about in the class. That will never happen in Ghana, by the way. But here, yes, it did. And so a few people got sent out, and something happened. Something happened where one of the classes I think they wanted to cancel it because everybody was just taking liberties and was just it just turned into a joke. So whilst we did learn some stuff, that whole cucumber and condom thing, just, yeah, they cancelled that class.
Yeah.
But they did.
The thing is, it's quite difficult. I think maybe schools need to assess if they feel as though the kids they're teaching are mature enough. Because if you're being taught something like that, and then you have boys that are obviously putting water in condoms and throwing them around the classroom, they're obviously not. They haven't matured enough.
But 14, but at 13, 14, why you you are not matured. You might be a bit more matured, but yeah, it's isn't it? For me, I feel like it was a way for some people to sort of deal with, I wouldn't say the embarrassment, but it's just that topic that you're not talking about, or a lot of the girls were like, "Oh, what you doing? I'm not touching that." Do you know that kind of thing? So
yeah.
Is it more of a coping thing than I'm just being naughty and absurd?
Yeah, you're right. It probably is a coping mechanism, just because they're so embarrassed, they don't know how to hide their embarrassment, so they do that.
Yeah.
Kind of brush it off or throw it,
I thought so. To be honest, it was a bit uncomfortable the first couple of lessons, but then it carried on and we learned things. Yeah. So, how old is your nephew? Max is
17.
17. So
17, yeah.
At this point, because I know the other day you were saying that he's going to go off to college, soon. So you're talking to him about it. Yeah. How did he respond to you trying to speak to him?
He
trying
looked
to teach
at me and laughed and looked at his mum, then left the room. And then when he left the room, I said to my sister, I'm going to give him condoms because I don't want no scraggly girl getting on my nephew and getting herself pregnant or giving him a disease. And she was like, don't you dare. And I was just like, So, and actually at the time he was 16. He was here because they live abroad. So he was here over Christmas.
Yeah.
So he turned 17 earlier on in the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, my sister wasn't having it. She's like, no. But to tell you the truth, I'd rather him learn and get things like that from me than go to his friends that are going to give him bad advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, and I'll it's just what it is. So we just have to be open. It's embarrassing, but once it's out there, it's out there.
We still have to have that conversation, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We have to have that conversation, because if we don't, we're going to be grandmothers at 40.
More serious conversations. Okay.
Sorry?
I said we'll be having more serious conversations.
Exactly.
Than that. Yeah. You're right.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So moving away from that a little bit, my other question was, what were your childhood memories?
Oh.
What are a few of your favourite childhood memories? And whilst you think about that, I've got a few people on Facebook who have comments. So Astrid says, I think it's parents, and that's if they are ready to do so. So Astrid, does that mean that, if you're uncomfortable with the subject for a long time, the child is not going to hear about it? Jojo Bola says, my favourite game was Mommy and Papa. You know what that game is, do you?
Okay then.
Yes. Franco Wissa says, I enjoy it. I'm not quite sure what it is that he enjoys. Hello, Anita. Hello, Krantima. Astrid. Everybody that's online and watching on Facebook and listening. Guys, do call in. The telephone number is 0203 002 8482. If you're calling from anywhere else in the world apart from England, the WhatsApp number is 0044 203 002 8482. D, so do you have, what were your childhood memories? What are your favourites?
My childhood memories.
What are your earliest childhood memories, actually?
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was younger, my dad used to work Monday to Friday, and at the weekend, my mum used to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember having Saturdays with my dad, just me and my dad, and we'd just go shopping, come home. He'd be watching the football, whatever, and then he'd make me the weirdest lunches. And he used to be like, "This is the kind of food we used to have in Ghana." And I'd look at him like really weirdly, but it was just fun, just having my dad, just me and my dad, you know.
Just you and your dad.
Yeah, just me and my dad.
You're
Just
such a daddy's
Saturday
girl.
afternoon. Yeah, I am actually. I am. I'm his princess, as he always likes to tell me. Even at the old age I am. He still tells me.
Uncle. All right. So as far as games, So how old were you around this time when you'd have your weekends with your dad by yourself?
7, 8.
Okay. So in school, what kind of games were you playing? What were your memories outside? Not exactly outside of the family, but what other things do you remember that puts a smile on your face? What kind of routines did you have? What were you doing in school? The kind of games that you played?
Okay, so we used to play a game called Duck, Duck, Goose.
Can
you remember Duck, Duck, Goose?
I remember a little bit, but so go on, explain that game.
So there's a lot of people stand in a big circle. Say there's like 30 people stand in a circle.
Yeah.
One person goes round and says duck, duck, all the way round, as many times. And then when they say goose, they need to chase that person, and they have to catch that. They need to follow their path.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a silly game, but I used to love playing that game. And
it was a lot of fun.
Sometimes you'd run around somebody 3 or 4 times, and the same person that's chasing you, you have to run around that person 3 or 4 times as well.
Okay.
So yeah, that's one of my duck, duck, goose. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of my favourite games.
All right. So what else? What other games?
Or Buzz. Buzz.
I've never heard of that.
Buzz on the wall. If you have a tennis ball, you throw it on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to throw it as high as you can, as hard as you can. The person that caught it, was like the person that won a point. Or Buzz across the playground. You have to throw the ball really, really far.
That sounds a bit dangerous.
Well, no, not really. It's a tennis ball. So if you're a good catcher, then, you know.
And if you're not?
then the ball hits you, and then you're out.
Okay.
So, yeah. What games did you play in Ghana?
So, I think my favourite game was Pilolo. Do you know what that is?
No, what's that?
So basically, what we would do is we used to use, like, the broom, like the Ghanaian brooms that we use, like. So we'll break it up into several pieces. However many people were playing, each person would have a piece of that stick. So they were all one length except for one, right? So one person will go and hide it somewhere in the house, and everybody else would basically have to find it. So the idea was that you will have to be very inventive in hiding it. Sometimes it could be in plain view, depending on where you are or where you were. And so everybody will just kind of go around, they'll find it and they'll take one. But you don't pick the shortest one. You don't pick, so the person who picks the short one is obviously the loser because they're going to be the last one. Everybody else will pick the long one, and the loser is it, basically. And so the idea is that you hide it in the best place possible, because sometimes that game had been known to take hours until everybody got either annoyed or they just weren't playing anymore, or you, the person that hid it, will try and give some clues, so people will try and follow you around, and you kind of pretend like, oh, it's here, but no, actually it's not. And you might give some clues if it was going on too late, but the idea was for people to find it. And when you find it, you shout out, Pilolo. I have to teach you. It was one of my favourites. And also, Ampe, you know what that is, don't you?
Oh, of course I know that one. I got taught that when I went to Ghana when I was 8.
When you were 8, so...
my cousin Mamiya taught me that. And there's another one, green glasses, Kwaku and Nancy's Story. Do you know that one? and then you do the dance.
I don't remember that one. Who? I don't remember that
Oh
one.
my god! Oh my god! Where's my sister? She would tell you the whole ride.
I have
She
to
would
get.
say, like, do the ring. It's so funny.
Who, Julie or Jessica?
Jessica, because Jessica's the one that plays it. We all played it. But when I think back on it now, it's actually quite. I think it's a bit of a dirty song, actually.
Oh.
When I think of like what the kind of movement we were doing.
Oh, a lot of hip swinging.
Oh, a lot of hip swinging.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll tell you. A lot of hip thrusting and swinging. Yeah.
I see.
But obviously, when you're little, you
It's
don't
innocent.
think that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very innocent.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah.
Okay. English games. So, do you know what? I can't remember the name that what we used to call hopscotch.
That's what it is, hopscotch.
In Ghana. No, so I know that's the
Oh.
English name, but I can't remember it in Chi or any other language. But yeah. Okay, so any other childhood memories? You had your weekends with your dad. So where was Jessica and Julie at this point? Where were the JJs?
Julie didn't live with us. She had her own house in Leighton.
Mm-hmm.
And Jessica probably would have been working.
Hello?
She probably would have been working. Hello,
Mm-hmm.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jess
she
would have
probably
been
would have
working. Okay.
Yeah. No, actually, no. Hold on. No, I don't know where Jessica would have been, actually. She's only 5 years older than me. So, I don't know. Maybe out with her friends, maybe.
Yeah, with people her own age. Were you Were you the sister that would tag along?
No, no, she didn't let me tag along. If my mum told her she had to take me, then she wouldn't go. She'd be like, "No, I don't want to go." So yeah.
Well, okay, so I remember my auntie Rhoda, and this is a story that they've not let me live down for a while. So I grew up with my grandma and my granddad, and my auntie was also there, my aunties. But Auntie Rhoda, I used to go out with her sometimes. And actually, as a child, and up till now, actually, there's quite a lot of people who think I have several mums. So my mum, my Auntie Rhoda, and my Auntie Akos. But Auntie Rhoda used to go and visit a friend of hers called Uncle Joe. Now, we also had a member of our family who was called Uncle Joe that obviously my granddad knew. Now, my auntie was, at this time, probably 17, 18, something like that. And so we'll go and visit and we'll come back. And so one day, Granddad must have said, where did you go? Where have you been? And my auntie said, oh, we just went to visit Joe. So obviously she's not lying because we went to go and visit Joe. But in saying that, she wanted my granddad to think that Joe as in, family Joe and not her friend Joe. And me being their scrawny little girl, looked at both of them and I said, oh yeah, Granddad, we did go to see Uncle Joe, but not Uncle Joe, our family, our cousin, whatever Uncle Joe, but Auntie's friend Uncle Joe. And I think oh my God, I think my auntie actually did get some beats. So Auntie Rhoda, I do apologise. That's, yeah. I love you. But yes, yeah. And I think Sam says that a game that he remembers is Chaskili. I can't remember what that game is. Can somebody tell me? Yeah, Boating, hello. Guys, you can call in and tell us about your childhood memories. Okay, nobody else. So yeah, so that was one of them. What else? I had a few. I remember that in Kumasi, where we lived, like in a neighborhood, I knew quite a lot of the people. Like, I had a lot of friends, like, older and younger, and I used to have, like, a nickname for everybody. And I think there was one time, my mum says this, I don't remember this, but my mum says that she came on holidays and she wasn't feeling very well, so I was sitting with her. And a friend of the family's who I've got, you know, I used to, I had a nickname for, I used to call him Pataku, which is a bird. And he must have gotten a new motorbike or something. And at this age, I think I was probably like 6 or 7. And I said to my mum, "Oh, Mum, I'm going. I'm just going to go on the bike and I'll be back." And my mum said something like, "Oh, but I'm not well. You're going to leave me." And I said, "Oh, Mum, don't worry. You won't die. I'll be back soon. Just hold on." Or some nonsense like that. They keep telling me these things. Hold on. Oh, we've got another caller. Hang on. Hello, caller.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, sir.
Oh, hello, Mum Anita. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I've got Davina on the phone, as you know.
Hi, Davida.
Hello.
Anita's on
Hi,
the line.
how are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I'm just joining you now, about 10 minutes or so ago.
Honestly,
Sorry.
it's all right, darling. It's all right. So today we are talking about childhood, your fondest childhood memories. What were your routines? Did you make friends easily? What kind of games did you play? That was one. And also, as a mother of 2, I want to know who you think should be responsible for sex education when it comes to the children. Is it solely up to you? Is it up to the teachers? A bit of both? Do you remember having a conversation with a parent or your parents?
Well, I don't remember having that conversation with my parents or a parent. I remember giving that conversation to, I'm going to embarrass him now, to my little brother.
You had a conversation with your little brother?
I had a conversation with my little brother.
Oh.
Because, many moons ago, my mum found some condoms in his, was it condoms? Yeah.
Sure.
In his room, and she obviously panicked. Oh my God, Yeah, so I remember taking my brother to Nando's one evening after work.
How old was he at this time? At this point?
He was 16.
Okay.
You know, and you know, African parents, old-fashioned. They don't really talk about the birds and the bees and stuff like that. You know, and I remember taking him to Nando's after work one day, and I had the conversation with him, and I said, "Look, you're gonna do it regardless of what I say or what Mum say or what anyone says, you know. But just know that you need to protect yourself." And I remember saying to him, "Never ever leave it to the girl to put a condom on." And then I said to him, "Do you want me to get you some more condoms?" And he was like, "Yes, Anita, because it's so embarrassing going to the chemist to get condoms."
Wait, you've just ousted your brother?
My little brother, yes, please. When you see him, don't look at him funny now. Yes, I had that conversation. The thing is, I didn't find it embarrassing. I have never found that kind of conversation embarrassing, because regardless of what we say as parents, our kids are going to go out there and do anyway.
It's true.
So you're better off having that conversation with them. I mean, obviously at a certain age, if, you know they're going to do certain things. So you're better off having that conversation with them and letting them know the consequence of
the dangers and
you know, and just advising them.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think it should be something that should be embarrassed or you should feel embarrassed about.
I think it's a cultural thing, though, when it comes to that, not being able to speak to your children about it. I think it's a cultural thing. But then I say that, but I think, Dee, was it you that was telling me about the Krobo culture?
Yeah, I was told that in Ghana, the people that are Krobos, when the girls hit puberty, they get sent to a camp to be taught how to satisfy their future husbands.
That's deep.
Wow.
Yeah.
You see?
I'd never heard that. But
no, neither have I.
So, I mean, if you're listening and you know about this, please do call in and enlighten us further. Please, the studio line number is 0203 002 8482.
I don't know why there's like such a, should I say, taboo around talking to your kids about, sex, and why I don't see why it should be the responsibility of teachers, because at the end of the day, if you look at it plain and simple, if it wasn't for that act, none of us will be here. Do you know what I mean? So I think as long as the kids are of a certain age, obviously you don't want your 12-year-old coming to you and saying, no, Mom, I'm thinking about doing this. And, if my child came to me at that age, I think I would probably knock them out, But when they reach a certain age, it's going to happen.
So,
what age that child is mature enough to make that decision to say, look, I'm not going to give myself away until I feel I have found the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that child is mature enough to make that decision, it's going to happen. Just have to let them know, look, if you go that way, this and that is what could happen. Mm-hmm. So you need to take precautions. You need to protect yourself. And like I said to my brother, look, never leave it to the girl to put a condom on. You need to protect yourself from diseases, and you need to make sure that at the age of 16, you're not a parent.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I mean, you've got, your kids are fairly young, so you've got a few years.
I've got many years, please, I beg. Many years.
But, in school, you're going to get that letter before you're ready.
Yeah.
So...
I probably will. And the minute that I get that letter,
mm-hmm.
I have to make sure that I sit my kids down and sort of just have a conversation with them about it, talk to them about it. If the school is going to start teaching them about sex education,
mm-hmm.
I have to make sure that I inform them as well, and they don't just go by
what is said. Yeah.
As a parent, we have to take on that responsibility and not just think, oh, the school is doing it, so that's enough.
Yeah, because it's not.
It's not.
No.
It's not. It's like we can't expect teachers to raise our kids for us.
No, I mean, even apart from just that, I will say about just educating your children overall.
Yeah.
You can't leave it with just teachers. You've got to also follow it up.
It's their job at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. They're doing it to get paid at the end of the month to pay their bills and whatnot. So, you have that responsibility.
It's true. So, Davina, your sister said you've got okra mouth. Oh, was it me? Was that for me? Jess? Pardon? Listen, I was young. I was young, Jess. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just trying to explain the situation. I wasn't trying to get her into trouble, but she did get some beats. I apologize, Auntie Rhoda. If you're listening, do call in. So about games. Oh, actually, did you say that you're neither neither of your parents had a talk with you.
Yeah, neither of them had a talk with me.
So
yeah, I wasn't going to get that conversation. I definitely wasn't going to get that conversation from my dad and my mom.
And from your mum. Okay.
Yeah.
So where did you get the information you needed? Was it from just school, talking to Bridget?
From just talking to Bridget. Well, from just, you know what, I actually don't remember just having that conversation with anyone, really.
You just picked it up?
I think it's something that I picked up, and yeah, I don't remember having that conversation. I remember hearing, like, oh, the first time it hurts, and like girls talk around the school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't have a conversation sat down and had that talk with anyone.
Yeah, I think that's really very much a typical African household.
Yeah.
It's just, it's uncomfortable for the parents, and also I think it's uncomfortable for the kids as well. I think even now, if I'm watching TV and I'm a grown woman and there's like even a kissing scene or whatever, I think now I'll sit down, like I'm not going to go into the kitchen or whatever, but I will look at my phone. I will, something else, would become more important than what I'm watching at the time. And I think one time when I was younger, I did try to, there was like, it was just kissing. And I could see, I was trying it, so I could see my mum looking at me. She'll look at me, she'll look at the TV, she'll look at me, and I knew there was going to be a shout coming, so I just got up and went. I pushed it for a few seconds too long, but there we are. So yes, I'll be having a conversation with you all two.
Yeah.
At some point.
I will be. And I do hope that they can, they will feel comfortable enough
to talk to you about it.
To come to me and not think, oh, Mum will not know anything, or I will
tell them to sit down.
I will tell them to sit down. At an age, I'm not ready to be a grandma. You know what I mean? But so I will not feel. I think our generation is probably different from our parents' generation. When it comes to stuff like that,
they are more exposed to a lot more.
Yeah.
There's kids with phones at like 8, 9. Yeah. I have a friend who actually works at a sexual health clinic, and the other day we were talking and she was just like, Sheila, some of these little kids that come in there, for contraception, and they're not talking to their parents, and it's like, what, my mum, I probably know more than my mum. Some of the conversations that she kind of overhears from young people as young as 12, 13, who are actually allowed to go in on their own.
But how do you think, as a child, you know more about your parents on that subject?
On that subject, do you know what? I think it's just because some parents won't talk about it, but even out of that, I mean, some kids may actually know more than their parents, because they live in an era where they've got technology, where they know how to access things. There's there are people who live with their grandparents, or their parents are a bit older, who are still asking, how do you use this on my phone, kind of thing, and the child will come and take it up and fix it or do whatever within a minute or so. So they are that far advanced when it comes to that. So
but that is technology.
Yeah, but there's a lot of information on the World Wide Web as well. So if a child is curious enough, like, they're gonna get that information.
Yeah.
So, but
I guess, and that's the danger of it, you know, kids picking up the wrong information and, you know, picking up things that they feel is the norm or how it should be done, and not really getting the advice from someone that has been there and done that, and have you as a child to prove that they have been there and done it, you know. So it's just, like I said, I just hope that my kids will feel comfortable enough to approach me and talk to me about certain things. I mean, when I was growing up, I knew for sure that in my teens, I mean, I wasn't ready, but I knew for sure that in my teens I could not come home and say to my mom, I'm pregnant. Or,
the blows, not even the beats, the blows.
Yes. you know, so that there was that fear in me as well, that if I'm going to take that step to do that, I need to make sure that I'm protected, because boy, if I come home and say, Mom, I'm pregnant,
you're getting it.
Yeah, we'll just leave it there.
I'll be putting a wreath. I think, and I think my grandma one time did try to have something like that with me. I think one holiday when I'd gone back when she was still around, and she'd said something like, "Oh, mommy, like, you know, look after yourself and make sure that, like, you know, no one pushes you into doing anything, and, you know, God first in everything." You know, she went along that line, but it wasn't a conversation. And Stefan says home education is the primary and the most important of all. So it is down, he feels like it is down to the parents, And, you know, I mean, my nephew is about to go to high school. I can't believe it. He's about to go to high school, secondary school. Apparently high school is old school. Secondary school. And I'm wondering if he's going to get a conversation from my sister and my brother-in-law. I don't know if
Do you think he's more likely to come to you for that conversation than to go to...
I think they're quite... No, they can really... They can talk to I don't know if along those lines, because they're still quite young, but they're quite open and free with their parents. I think they can, if things are bothering them, they can go to them, etc. So, but I think also that, yes, he could definitely come to me. So do we wait for him to approach the subject, should it then be, being a boy, should it be his dad that has that conversation with him, or both mum and dad, or mum?
I think it should be his dad.
In my brother's instance, my dad wouldn't have had that conversation with him. You know, because obviously my dad is very old-fashioned. You know, so there was no way that he would have had that conversation. And I think even if my mum had approached him with that conversation, he wouldn't have been as open as he was with
you.
My mum.
Okay.
You know, so it sometimes you find that some kids find it easier to talk to that auntie, that big sister, that big brother, that cousin, than to actually approach their parents about it.
That's fair enough. So, Dee, you think the conversation with the boy should be had by the dad, the conversation with the girl should be had by the mum?
Yes, that's what I think that.
Okay.
I think that. I mean,
you know, a bit of both.
If there's a situation whereby maybe the mum isn't around or the dad isn't around, then obviously that's different. If both parents are there, I think that the mum should take the role of speaking to the girl, and the dad should take the role of speaking. Because the thing is, both parties have been through what their kids are going through. So why not tell them their experiences? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. And, you know, just off of that, there's something else, like, you know, when, especially girls, I mean, even going through puberty, I think there's a whole conversation to be had also about the changes in your body and, you know, what's likely to happen, how you might feel, how your body will change. Because, again, there's certain things that just happened that you know, as I never had that whole, oh, you know, I knew I was going to grow boobs, but, you know, it wasn't like, yeah, it's just it might just spring up on you, you know, you might start your period at this point, there's, you know, this is what might happen. So there's all of that, and also the other side for boys as well. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that conversation is also not had. Is it two separate conversations, or is it a blended conversation between the two? I don't know.
Well, I remember when I started my period, and I remember the day that it happened, and I ran to my mom and I was crying because I woke up in the morning and, you know, I had started, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? And that
What
day
is going
was
on?
when my mom actually sat me down, and I had that conversation about, you know, my body changing and what it means to now have periods and all that. She was quite, as old-fashioned as she is, when it came to that, she was quite open about it with me. You know, that we sat down and she told me everything, and, you know, you're gonna, your boobs, you're gonna start getting boobs, your hips are gonna
where did you get them?
This and that, and this is what it means to have your period, and you're gonna go through it every month, and, you know, she had that conversation with me because in a way it's almost like, as a girl, when you start that, you're almost like starting to become a woman in a sense, isn't it? You know? And and she had that conversation with me then. Yeah, whether she should have had it sooner, that I don't know. I probably wouldn't have understand it until it happened, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I remember my auntie saying to me, because she used to get really bad period pains, and when I was little, and I mean, I'm talking like I was about 8 or something. And I remember saying, I'm never gonna have this, you know, never. And she used to say, you will, and when you're a girl, so you're going to have it. So, but then when it did happen, I was like, oh my God, what is this? You know, it still didn't register that this was what my auntie was having every month and going through that pain.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I don't know if that conversation.
Sorry, hold on one second. We've got another call coming through. Hold on. Hello, caller.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Beverly.
Hello, Beverly.
You alright?
Yeah. Hello. We've got another caller on.
I know.
So, hello.
Yes. How you guys doing? You alright?
Good, thank you. Who's that?
It's Stefan Gislin. You wanted me to call, isn't it?
Hello, Stefan. You alright?
I'm doing good. Not too bad.
Good, good. Thank you for calling in. Just bear with me one moment, because we've just got another person that just called through before you. So you're good to hold on? All right. So, Bev.
Hello.
Hi. Who else is on the line? I think one person got dropped. So is Anita on still?
I am, yes.
Oh, we dropped Sabina. Dee, I apologise. We will be right back. Sorry. So, Bev, you know what we're talking about today. Tell us some of your childhood memories, your fondest ones, and also, should sex education be left to just the parents or just teachers, bit of both, or TV? And who told you about? Who told you about this, the birds and the bees?
Yeah. So I'll talk about what you guys are already talking about, sex education one. I'll chime in on that one. I think it should start at home. That should be the kind of foundation. And obviously, kids are going to go outside and find out all the other information there is out there from other people, from the media, from the internet, and the rest of it. I just feel like the home is where everything begins, and so that's where it first kind of comes from.
Yeah.
But I know it doesn't always happen that way, and kids see, you know, their information in various different channels. For me, when I was going to talk about it already, it just wasn't something that my parents spoke to me about, or even I don't even think my
There
brother
seems to be a running theme with all these Ghanaian parents. But carry on.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I think like Anita said, I can't actually even remember a conversation I had with my mum. The only hint of, you know, sex education or, you know, something along those lines that I can think of is when, as women, obviously, as young babies, we start receiving our visitors every month. And when I told my mum that I started, she was like, so now you do realize you can get pregnant.
Which is true, but you know, more information, please.
That was all she said.
Do you know what I think? Also, that it's probably because they don't actually go on to give you more information because they're scared that you're going to say, so how is that done? And how would that happen? What? Because you know, kids, we like the why. Yeah. So, you know, it's true, Stefan, because you're then opening up a whole floodgate of, you know, so many questions. Where do we put this? What do you do with it? How does it happen? So people resort to the stalk, you know?
Yeah.
But
it's something I knew already. So it's kind of like, it was something I knew. We had sex education in school. Okay, it wasn't sex education in the sense of
sex education in school, you know. I find it quite interesting. I don't know what to say about that.
Really?
I have to be honest with you. In terms of sex education, it's true that mentality has changed, things have changed, and that awareness is something that we need to implement, but we need to be very mindful on what stage or what age that has to be implemented. It's true now with the social media aspect of things, the way we see things is very difficult. It's very difficult to not to restrain, but to teach children the basic values of life. But I still believe when we implement a certain action at a very young age, especially when children are receptive to parenting, then it's easier. Okay. It is true that I've always said the most important education of all is of home education. Now, people will say it depends. If you have a father and a mother, the whole package. I also praise a single woman who doing a fantastic job, you know, raising the kids to their higher standards. I really appreciate that. You guys, those who are listening to me, doing a good job. But the problem is now you have different cases whereby, you know, I'm not going to go into details, but let's keep to the real thing. I think sex education needs to be presented to the age of 15. Younger than that, it's going to be very harmful. Yet, we're going to talk about the fact that social media is not really helping, but it's also our responsibility at home to ban social media to a certain extent, not by with the rules, but with the engagement with family. But sometimes, recently my daughters, they were saying, because I got 2 sets of twins, and my first set are girls. They went to the...
2 sets of twins, did you say?
Yeah, 2 sets of twins. So they start in secondary school in the next 2 days. So a couple of weeks ago, they went to my mom and said to my mom, "Oh, yeah, Dad does not really, he's always on his phone. And me, when I'm on my phone, I'm networking. not knowing my daughter was actually looking at me. They were observing me. My mom came to me and said, look, a parent and a girl saying to me, you spend so much time on your phone, you're not talking to them. I was like, oh, my Lord. That is actually true.
They look at things,
so,
they see.
What I start doing is I have a cinema date night with them. And I say, which movie do you want to watch? So I make them watch movies that can actually make them becoming more inquisitive. And they start asking questions. But what I'm trying to say is because the education, the pattern was educational. It was in the sense where for them to have knowledge, to have values. Okay, and I always say to them, when you go to school, the school will teach you the society, but I will teach you the real life.
It's
and
true.
You understand that?
I get
you. What I'm saying?
I get you.
Now, in terms of sex education, I believe the mom is already speaking to them about the hormones. So I talk to them about certain aspects, and I allow them to watch movies for the certain aspects, so for them to understand this is real life. I cannot restrict them, because if you restrict them, there's going to be rebellion after that. They're going to be more inquisitive. But if you allow them, if you explain to them certain things, because remember, you have to endure what they learn at school. All this rubbish to put in their children's head. I don't know if you guys are aware of what is going on in France. Yeah, I have to be honest. Let's talk about it, because in school now, there's certain things that they put in their children's head that shouldn't be it shouldn't be talked about.
This is true, but let me just, sorry, you said something earlier on. So you said children, people shouldn't be, young children should not be taught sex education before the age of 15. To a certain extent. I personally believe so. To the age of 15, which in an ideal world is actually perfect, because, but you forget that at this age, a lot of the kids have gone through puberty, are well into puberty. Secondly, I don't know if you heard me earlier on, but a friend of mine who works at a sexual health clinic was telling me about children as young as 11, 12, 13 coming into the clinic for their services. So if, like, some of these kids, because when we were kids, it's very different. Our time as young people is very different to young people now. When we were kids, we were kids. There aren't many young kids now. Yeah, we were children. We were allowed to live as children. Now, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to keep children away from social media. For instance, at home.
Yeah, I agree with that. But remember,
they go to school.
Go ahead.
They go to school, and they have friends, and their friends. Maybe their parents are a little bit more relaxed about certain things, or they might not even know that. They bring in phones, and they might listen to certain things. They might pass on certain information. They might see things. Children talk, okay, and so even if you decide to ban social media, or you limit it to a certain point, which I think actually children are always on all of that and it's too much, but even if you limit it to say a couple of hours a week is when you're allowed, children will still, at this age, will still get information. Certain information, if they seek it, they will get it. So if you're leaving that kind of conversation till 15, I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong, but I'm saying, with depending on parents know their children, you know your child. So as a blanket, if you say that at 15 is when we're going to have this conversation, you might miss the boat. You might be very late in trying to teach your kids.
That's what I say to you in a general aspect. But in the personal aspect, it depends how the communication that you have with your children at home is, the nature and the state of the conversations. So what I'm trying to say to you is values, simple values. For instance, when I tell you, when I go home, I put my phone in with my daughter and say, look, this is what I want to do with you, this is what we're going to do, so we're going to talk about. I expose them to movies that would trigger their curiosity. So when they trigger curiosity, I cannot implement what I tell them according to social conversation. I tell them this is what I believe, Yes, in school, you might have this kind of information, you might have this, but this is what I'm telling you. And I also have my Christian values. But bear in mind that children have also a choice, because we can't do so much. By the end of the day, it's down to them.
Yeah.
And that's what I always say to every parent. I say, listen, you cannot force your child to do something he does not want to do that he thinks is correct. I don't know if you get what I'm just saying. So I'm saying values are important. So they have to be implemented at a certain age, especially when you know how your child is seeing life. Like my two daughters, the second twin, she's very aware than my firstborn. But my firstborn, she's still a bit innocent. So I'm having to deal with the personality in a different way.
Yeah, so knowing your child, really.
It's knowing your child. But now, certain parents, the way they know the children is by the school reports. Why? Is because they don't spend time with them. And that is very sad. And that is why you start having children do whatever they want. And also, you have to think about the factor of life in terms of work. When you do 12-hour shifts, and now you have to go home, you do not have the time to spend with your children. So it's a very complex discussion. And that is why I always say that it is time for us, as African communities, to come together to find a common ground on how we can improve the education system.
Okay.
That's education system.
That's a whole other topic. And if you would like to come in and discuss that topic, you're more than welcome, Stefan, as well. But you know what? You're right. You're correct. It is down to the parent knowing their child, and also having that kind of relationship with them, whereby the child can come to you and be comfortable to a point. To learn things. There are parents whose relationship with their kids are like as a friends, and there are parents who are parents, but they also have that friendship with them, which I think is a great combination. Sometimes it can go too much to the left, sometimes it can go too much to the right. Some middle grounds, but that's some great nuggets. Can I ask where you originally from, if you don't mind?
Let's just say I was born in Cameroon,
and
I grew up between Paris and London. So that's why it gives me a little bit of understanding when it comes to social, cultural life and parenting. And I have to be honest with you, I had let's say a providing father, but I didn't have a caring dad. He was always busy, making sure that we have he was there, but he wasn't really there. So I had to find a way how to become a father to myself first.
Okay.
And it was very challenging because I didn't even have a role. I have a few role models around me, but I have to find a way how to become better, which is not always easy. But I got that in. I'm still learning. Okay,
thank you. So my other question was, and it's good that you've got such a combination of cultures. What are your childhood memories? Your fondest ones?
My fondest one? Oof.
Yeah. What kind of games did you play? Like, you were born in Cameroon?
I was born in Cameroon.
Okay.
The games I played was always around hurdles.
Around hurdles?
Elderly people.
Okay, yeah.
Those games, they have I don't know how you say it in English, but we call it damier. So it's a game you need to take nuts. If you have 5 nuts and you have to play it around a circle.
Is it the fours? You play in fours?
Yeah, you play in fours. Yeah,
like there's 6 on each side. So we have that. We call it Owari and Chi.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one.
Yeah,
but that one
I
was
love that.
tactical. It was a very tactical game, but it's a patience. It's to know how your opponents move, how it thinks.
Yeah.
It makes you. So this kind of games will make you feel intelligent.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. And the fun memory is I remember my dad when he had time on the weekend, he'd take us to the barbers. Take us to the barbers. He would make sure we dressed like him, same shorts, same t-shirts, and we had the sandals, many sandals. That looked like like woman one, but like an Arabic one. Like so, I don't know how you say it in English, but yeah, you create a salah in French.
Okay.
So those memories are still in there. I still remember those weekends. You know, the perfume on his clothes, the way, because my dad himself, he did not know his dad. He didn't really have a father figure around him, but he did his best.
Yeah, yeah.
So I still remember those memories and those games. Playing, not just playing football, you know, but playing the history game. How far, how deep is your knowledge into your history? Okay. That is the type of game we're having. Very instructive, very informative, and that is what we miss. You know, it's true. Back in the days, we have to work so hard to be successful, you know, in terms of academics. But nowadays, it's not the same.
It's
not the same. I guess. You know what I mean, the time we live in is it's different, right?
It's very different. Kids don't play out anymore. I think not entirely by choice, but also because the world is dangerous too.
Yeah.
But kids don't play out because of technology also. But yeah, I think, like I was saying, our childhood was, you know, very different to children now, their childhood now. Like I think one game that we used to play in Ghana was with tires. Like it's very simple things.
Yes.
So you'll have the stick and you'll kind of like everybody has to
But
direct.
remember, Africa is different. Africa is different.
It is, but you know what? That game was played here. That game was also played in England.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't very common, I don't think. But I was speaking to a friend's mum, and she was saying that, yeah, they used to play that, and then the boys will always try and kick it off so, you know, that they would win, as you do, be very competitive. But, yeah, it's very different. But, yeah, Bev, sorry. Hello, Bev, are you still there?
Hello, yeah, I'm here.
Bev, so out of, you know, the four of us on this phone, I think you're the only one that was probably born and brought up in England.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why are you laughing?
It is a privilege. At least we got the passport. We had to work hard to get our passport. We had to work hard. We had to go do some serious stuff.
But it's the same way I have to work hard to get a Ghanaian passport.
My darling, it is a privilege that you have. Do you know how many people wish you had a passport, my brother?
He just started laughing.
I had to start washing dishes.
She couldn't help it. But so Bev, all right. So you've heard ours. What kind of games did you play as a young British girl?
As a young Londoner.
A young Londoner.
What did I play? Ride my bike with my brothers around car park. In school, I mean, a lot of where the game kind of originated from. I'm sure you guys know about, because you went to school in and even though it was later coming from Ghana, you guys went to school here. But stuff like British Bulldog and
I don't know what that game. What's that one?
You don't know British Bulldog?
If you explain it to me, I might, but I don't remember the name.
You remember it?
It's like Pasta Dutch. Is that Pasta Dutch, isn't it? Like Pasta Dutch, something like that, right?
No.
Okay, go on.
I see. I don't know about this.
You don't know.
British Bulldog. Oh gosh. So what it was two teams. You had the team who had to basically get across to the other side, and you had the team who were preventing the other team from getting across. So you used to shout. So they see at opposite ends of the field or the playground, and then the team that were trying to get to the other side would shout British Bulldog 1, 2, 3. I could be getting this completely wrong because I've gone on in age, so I can't quite remember. But they'd shout British Bulldog 1, 2, 3, and then everyone would charge towards each other. And literally, it was a fight to get across to the other side. So you had to like wrestle with people and push people to the ground, and yeah,
it's quite dangerous.
Really fun.
But you were out there. I'm trying to remember like games that I used to play here. Like,
Well,
didn't
with
play no
me,
games.
you didn't play no
Well,
games?
I
Yeah.
didn't have time for that, to be honest. I was more trying to find a way how I could get out. I mean, to get a better life. You know, I was
So you-
more concerned.
At what age is this that you're talking about, by the way?
We're talking about my adult life started at the age of 17.
Okay, so no, I mean like
drinking.
as a child.
Hey,
You know, as a child you
I
played.
I told you a few things. I played a few games. I told you
That's
the one
okay.
in the
That's a
Awari
few.
said.
Awari.
You got the this game called Ludo. They have 4 corners and you play
Oh,
with the dice.
Ludo,
And you
yes.
put in-
Ludo, yeah.
I think
Ludo was
you know there's
stress. They call it. They have a different name for that one here. You have a different
I
name for
think
that one.
they
What,
yeah,
draft or something? Was it the draft?
no.
No, it's
Are you still
something
talking
else.
about Ludo?
I know Ludo.
Yes.
Ludo, you have 4 corners. You
Yeah,
have
and the different colours.
The blue color, the green color, the yellow, and the red.
Yeah.
And you have to.
It's the same thing.
They have it here. There's a like a sort of a digital one
what's
as
the name
well.
of this one here?
I think they call it.
Yeah, this is.
It's called Ludo.
It's called Ludo as well.
Yeah, it's got Ludo, but they have a different name because my daughters know which one.
They have a variation of it. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So
I
that's
think-
one of the games I used to play. These are the play, and also you have the game you play with. I don't know. You have to draw something on the floor, and you have to go in 1 step, 2 steps.
Oh, it's hopscotch.
Hopscotch.
Anita, I
Yeah,
can't remember
there you
the
go.
tree name for it. Do you?
And
Nope.
But
yeah,
those games, you were able to play with the
no,
girls.
no.
It was incorporated
I don't know.
with the boys and the girls play together, and
Yeah.
it brought us so close. And we grew up together. We knew how we were. We knew how to respect the young girls. But nowadays, you got
Yeah.
to be mindful, and they're teaching our children consciousness at a very young age. So you can see now, like you said earlier, you have 11-year-old children that go to the clinic, you know, to ask for services. You know, it's true that things have changed. But what you must understand, we have to give children the privilege to be a child. It's very important.
It
Otherwise,
is. I
they're
think
like Michael Jackson.
I agree with
Michael
that.
Jackson.
Go
ahead.
Can I just add something in?
Yeah, go on.
Go ahead,
Now,
go ahead.
I know we. I think earlier, Stefan, you mentioned how in an ideal world, you know, by the age of 15, you know, that's when we should kind of be introducing, if you like, young children to sex education. But it's interesting because it just seems like we want, at the end of the day, as parents and as a community or sisters or aunties or whatever, we are raising our kids and essentially preparing them to become adults in society. And it's kind of like everything else is kind of okay and instilled within them. So like, for example, how to look after your home, that's taught at a young age. Like, you know, cleaning your rooms, helping around the house with chores, even going as far as teaching our kids about finance, like how to become responsible with money and all the rest of it.
Very important.
But when it comes to sex, it's kind of like, ooh, like,
It's the word.
yeah, it's like, oh no, but that is a part of preparing them for an adult. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it needs to be taught early when kids are really young, but I think that while you mentioned, once a child hits puberty, I mean, they're in a sense, you can't underestimate like the power of hormones. Like sometimes we downplay what that does to someone, but that is something biological that happens within young children once they hit puberty, and sometimes it's something that they can't control because it's biological and they don't quite understand what's happening to their body, and their body's changing and they're feeling all types of things. So I think introducing sex at that point, or sex education at that point, is important because they are starting to realize that their body is changing. And I feel like we want to kind of give them information about everything else about being an adult before the age of 15, because I know that I was doing my chores at
God knows what age, because, you know, at times we were left in the house when my parents went out to work late at night and coming back in the early morning. So we have to fend for ourselves. So we have to learn how to, you know, look after ourselves in the house, which is, again, preparing us for adulthood. But when it comes to sex education, it's kind of like, oh, let's hold off a bit. So it's just interesting to kind of see that happening. And, you know, I'm not a parent myself, but it kind of just strikes me as something that it's just interesting to see.
So
I would tell you this. What I would say to you is, the engaging conversation with your children is the most important part. Is how you engage to them and with them, and how you also take this kind of conversation. You have to take it seriously, because once your children learn how to open themselves to you about anything, like my daughters, you know, they do tell me things, and I do tell them, darling, you're going to go to school, you're going to have boys coming at you, but remember, I have rules. I told them already, in this house, you will not bring a boy into your 21. And they were like, why? I said, that's my rule. Simple as that. So why am I 21? Because 21 is the age when you start thinking, you know what? I can do things in a different way. Okay? Not 18, 21. Now, in terms of sexual education, it is a taboo within our, let's say, our black communities. Some black parents do not know how to handle these discussions, because before them, they didn't have that.
Yeah,
now we've been exposed to it, so we're trying to find a way how we can actually talk to our children so they can be receptive. We also have to be receptive, okay? Because a child will come to you and tell you, look, Dad, I got this boy who was interested in me. I would love to have that kind of conversation with my daughters. I said, listen, boys right now, they need a subject. You can't have, you know, all this kind of things. But remember, the most important thing is it's cool. But at the same time, I want you to experience life. Now, for those of us who are strictly Christians, we've got to be very mindful with that. As soon as you start making those rules, that's when the children become very inquisitive. They become very serious. They do the exact opposite. But try to be on the side. Try to understand and say, look, this is what's happening. By the end of the day, bear in mind, that child has a choice to make. That's what people need to understand. But the most important things of all is to engage in communication. That is why I always say we need to learn how to engage. How to engage? Is you can take your daughter to the cinema, you know, watch a movie, check her out, get to know her as a friend. Get to know her more. You can take on a date. And that's what many black men don't do. They only do it when they miss so much out of these children's life when they get to the age of 25. Oh, babes, who's your boyfriend? 25? No, come on, darling. Come on, bro. Where were you being when she was 15, when she was 16? So it is now we need to break those rules, implement the engaging rules, but how to engage with them will be the most crucial part.
Yeah.
Okay. Good points. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you've been the only man to call and give us that point of view. So I know that you said that you didn't really have that conversation with your father.
Yeah.
About it. And do you have boys?
I have my last one is a boy, but I have nephews. I have boys I'm parenting, I'm mentoring.
Okay.
A lot of them come to me with those kind of conversations. So I have very good experience when it comes to that.
So are you also having the conversation about puberty and, you know, and the changes in their bodies, etc.?
My daughters, I can see the change already in their body. So I'm like, why? It's a bit scary. But at the same time, I'm thinking, you know what? My younger sister, she actually grew up. Now she's 25 years of age, and she's very good. I mean, she behaved herself to a certain extent. Up to now, she's still where she is. I'm not going to say, I won't say the virgin word, but she still kept herself, you know, dignity, even though it doesn't matter. But I'm just happy to say, put it out there. I know what it is like when you go through, you know, hormones, and I can see sometimes my daughter's tone of voice. It's because it's not challenging. They know when that's a hit. The Liberian African, now that they know already, hey, that is not happy, so they know where to go down.
Okay.
So I already know,
Okay.
but I'm still learning because every children is different, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
there you
So
go.
got
It's
to
a
know
learning process,
your
yes.
child. Well, guys, I totally appreciate your time this evening.
No problem.
Thank you, Stefan. This is the first time that you've called in. Do make sure that you call in again. I've enjoyed the conversation.
When the show starts, please feel free to always,
I'll
ping
tag
me or
you.
share with
I'll
me.
be like, get on
I'll
here.
ring
Get on here. I will do.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. So you guys are doing a good job. Fantastic.
Thank you.
I like what I'm saying.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You too, guys. Have a lovely one.
Thanks.
You too.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Mama Nita and Bev. Thank you, ladies, for also calling through and not, I'm in the studio by myself today. But I enjoyed the conversation. It was, and my sister and Davina contributed to the actual topics today because I was supposed to, the conversation was supposed to be about bullying. And like I said earlier, the lady that was supposed to come in wasn't feeling very well. So Martha, I hope you are feeling, a bit better and you'll be well enough to come in shortly. And my backup also couldn't come in. So thank you, sis. Thank you, Davina, for your topic. Thank you, ladies, for calling through. I appreciate it as always. Thank you to everybody that was commenting on Facebook, everybody that watched. And so now I know what Chaskele is. But to be honest, Anita, did you know what it was? I remember the name,
You know what? I've heard it
but
so
I don't
many
remember
times,
what
but
it
I
was.
don't. Yeah.
So
I don't remember playing Chaskele.
Nana says that is like cricket, but with milk tins and sticks. I actually still don't recall ever. I don't know. Just really quickly, if you're listening and you can explain properly, can you please call in and explain to me this game of Chaskele? I thought it was something totally different, but I shan't say what I thought it was. But yeah.
I don't remember that game at all. I never played it.
No.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Is it Ghanaian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what game?
Maybe it was before our time, eh?
No, I think it was around our time, Anita. Do you know what game that I used to love is, when you'd get like tins, like sardine tins or milk tins or something, and then you would cook with it. Hold on, someone's called through. Hold on. Hello, caller.
Hey, it's me.
Go and get the
hello,
scraps of it, and then you make your own.
Yes, soup. We've got somebody's just come on the line. Who said it's me? Is it you, Nana?
It's Nana. What's Nana?
Mr. N. Hello, good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound a bit muffled though. What's going on?
I'm here.
Hello?
Okay, so quick one. Chaskele.
Chaskele. Is it Chaskele or Chaskele?
So you can pronounce my name properly, thank you.
Are you
prophesizing
it, Nana? Yes.
I'm not. You've got like a basket to begin with, I think, and you are supposed to stand at a distance from the basket and throw your milk tins in. If you miss, I think, then somebody stands in front of it, and then you try and throw your milk tin in again, and then they whack it with the stick when you've thrown it, and it goes as far as possible. But the dangerous bit of it is that because it's a stick, you don't have that much control of it. You can whack it and it might hit that person. It being a milk tin might cut them, and it was really dangerous.
But you
played. It was so much fun because you can stand, like, let's just say 20 meters away and try and get this tin into the basket. Each time you throw it, the person positions themselves
and wax it even further or wax it to the other side, and you're just running around feeling sorry and hating the game as much
But
as
still
possible.
playing.
Yeah, still playing because you've got no choice.
I see. Any other games that you used to play as a young man?
Anything that involved running.
So,
Just running.
Did you know
Running
about
about playing football.
pardon, Bev?
Did you know about British Bulldogs then?
Yeah, I did, but I couldn't remember the rules. I'm a bit old, long in the tooth myself. I remember British Bulldog, knockdown ginger, nicking sweets from the corner shop. That's all kind of games.
Was that a game?
You guys were.
Calling the popo for you?
Yeah.
Oh.
You guys weren't admit to it, but going into there was a game called Steam as well.
Steam?
Yeah. You're kicking the ball around the playground, and whoever kicks it to a point that hits, it goes in the air and someone catches it. Everybody steams the child and gives him a little duffing, kicking, whatever.
So, rushing a person, you mean?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So
Was
it's a
that
little game,
like? Was
but-
it usually guys that play that game?
I went to an all-boys school, so yes,
Yeah.
guys.
Okay. Yeah. I don't recall that game.
Yeah, you had to be tough in those days. Not these children nowadays doing silly things on the road. But in school, it was all right. You used to play those games in school, and then you stop, and then go back to your class.
Then you're finished. And hide.
It's all fun.
Everybody's forgotten about hide and seek, though.
Yeah.
Was that
like,
too
hide and
tame?
seek. It was good.
It was everywhere. Like
Until,
I used to try and hide on the avocado tree in our house. But yeah, that got me one of the best beatings of my life when I fell asleep and fell into the fish pond below.
Gosh. How long were you up there?
I just think no one was looking up. You know, if you're playing hide and seek, you're looking down. I went up too high, and I fell asleep, found myself in the water, and grandparents checked if I was all right, and then beat me because they told me not to do it various times, and I did it. So I got beats from my granddad. It was deserved, but anyway, let's not talk about it. But I see. Okay. So Nana, did you ever play with the sardine tins and milk tins and making soup on a little fire that you build yourself and serving it in a little plate and actually going through to eating it?
Of a girls' game, though.
Yeah, some
wasn't
guys
it?
played.
Yes.
Some guys
it wasn't
did
more of
play.
a girls' game, but I think in Ghana, when you you were growing up there, you got to a point where everything was unisex. So ampe, I used to be awesome at that. There was a game whereby you'd have a piece of cloth tied to your waist as well, and then you'd run and it'd be like a sail behind you. There was one where you'd use the palm trees, you turn into a fan and you'd run with it. There was so many inventive games out there.
You keep breaking out, Nana.
There was so many inventive games out there
Yeah.
whereby everything involved being physical, so you were naturally going to be running around. Whose fan was better? You break it. You were inventing things. They used the milk cans to make cars.
I was just thinking that in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I was good at
And,
that.
Well, I didn't do that. Somebody done it, and then I would make it off them, and then there we go. Let's run.
There seems to be a running theme here. First the corner shop sweets, and then
Yeah. It was just everything was inventive. The food things, and you were always active.
Yeah.
And it made it much more fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't a solo thing whereby you sit behind the computer just by yourself playing the game.
Strangers, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do nowadays, but it's okay. I've done my fair share of running around, so yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for calling in at lastminute.com. I appreciate it,
welcome.
my darling.
Mm-hmm. I've been listening all along.
Oh, well done. It's nice to hear from you.
I know. It's nice to hear from you too.
Did you hear that? I know.
I know.
It's my brother. I hear you. Well, thank you
All right, then.
for calling in. Have a
Okay,
good
cool.
evening.
Have a good evening. See you on Sunday.
See you Sunday, boo.
All right.
Bye.
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 So we are finished.
You're finished.
I think that's taking us to 10:13 p.m. I did start late today, but I am going to finish. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Actually, thank you for coming on. Yusuf Joe is laughing about something. I'm not sure what it is. On Facebook. Hello, Franklin. Who else came on? Hello, Flavina. It's nice to have you. Hi, Jane. Hi, Nanado. Stefan, thank you again for coming on. Maddie was on listening, but she didn't call in today. Hi, Maddie. I hope you guys are okay. My cousin's Katie. Hello. You joined. Hi, Deepa. Nefi. Nanachua. Alia. April. Quite a few people. It's quite a few people from school. I have got us in a couple of weeks. We've got like a school reunion coming up.
Oh.
I haven't
Oh,
been to one.
fun.
Sorry?
I said that's fun.
I know, but I don't know if I'm going to go. It's all
Why?
I think I will go. It's all the way in Wembley, but I think I will go. It seems like a lot of the people in the year below me. I know.
What do you mean don't play Wembley?
I know. I will. I don't know yet. I have to talk to, because it seems like there's a lot of people from the year below that are going.
Which reunion is it? Because you went to 2 secondary schools, didn't you?
No, I only went to one. It's Copeland.
What,
Copeland
Copeland?
Massive, yeah. Although they've changed the name and they're now breaking down the school, but okay.
Yeah.
What? They breaking down the school?
Yeah, apparently. Like the other week.
What?
It started.
Flats?
Probably. Or a new school. I don't know what they're doing. But we are going to have a reunion. Well done, Esther, and your hubby for putting it together. We appreciate it. If you went to Copeland, and you...
Between what years, though? Because I went to Copeland.
So, did you, Beth?
Yeah.
Oh, no, yes, you did.
Remember, Maxwell went to Copeland.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, the shame. Yes, you should come, Bev. And Max as well. It's your year, the year above. Was I 3 years above you?
Yeah.
I think it's just open to everyone at the moment, but it's definitely the year, the 97 class, 96, 95.
Because I joined 95.
From, I think, so graduating year of 95 all the way up to probably like
2000.
90,000. Hey.
Oh, wow.
Just come along.
I
If you
wish
went
I
to
could
Copeland,
have been.
if you didn't come to Copeland, you can still come and enjoy with us.
It's okay.
It's okay. Oh.
You know, Preston Manor, we don't make really Copeland people, do we really?
Preston Manor. We shouldn't even be friends, but okay. It's fine. It's fine. Thank you, Sam, Frank, Sister Rumby, you didn't call in. And Jess, thank you for calling me Okra Mouth. But, you know, I was young, I was silly, I didn't know how I was going to... Pardon? Oh, Miss Anna, apparently. Now make it cancer by heart. But not just to, like, get people in trouble, but just, it was the truth. It wasn't Okra Mouth, I was speaking the truth. And unfortunately, that might have gotten a couple of people in trouble. But hey, don't sweat the small stuff. No. So yeah, that's it for today. I appreciate everybody for joining. Thank you, ladies, for staying on with me. Thank you, Davina, for being my first caller, and for all your contributions. So,
all right,
we're out till next week. Have a lovely week.
Okay.
Be good. Be safe. Bye.
All right, then. Speak to you later. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Alright, we're out till next week. Have a lovely week. Be good, be safe. Alright, go now. Didn't I just get rid of the good music I was just playing?
That's the point. Ghana will be able to. It's almost adapted the same cargo tracking route for security reasons.
Okay.
And Omono,